Bismillah, in the name of Allah, is how I will start. The idea of God, put simply, is that of the creator of all creations. Of course, the idea is much more than that. However, for my main point, this definition will serve. Therefore, a man under this definition cannot be God, not even Jesus, as he was created and born. God is not created or born, nor does he father children. He creates. The actual term God that is today used in English is found in the Torah and Bible in its original language, referring to a false deity, which is not to be worshipped. The idea of God as a generic term for someone or something being worshipped in the Torah and Bible in its original language is ilah. The idea of God in what is called Biblical Hebrew, Aramaic, Syriac, which is used to be called Old Arabic by Arabs, and Arabic is ilah. Dialects may differ very slightly, but the root word remains the same. So in the Torah, Bible, and Quran, the idea of the one and only true and deserving ilah, that which is worshipped, and the creator of all of creation is called the ilah. The Arabic for the definite article the is al, giving us the term Allah, and is the name used by Arab Jews and Christians before the revelation of the Quran, and was the name of our creator in the Biblical Hebrew and Aramaic Bible, having only a slight difference in pronunciation due to dialect. In fact, the word Allah was also found in the Old English Bible. The word ilah, having the root alif lamed he or alif lam ha in the original Hebrew, Aramaic, and Arabic Bible, is the generic word for what today is wrongly translated as God. In other words, the word ilah was replaced with the word God in the translations found today. Al-ilah, with the prefix al, being the definite article, the makes Allah, what today is wrongly translated to as God or the God. Allah and not God is the name found in the original languages of the scriptures in Biblical Hebrew, Aramaic, and Arabic. This term is pre-Islamic and preserved to this day, including the vowels and correct pronunciation. There may be slight dialect change, but the word remains clear, both ilah and Allah. The word God can also be found in the original Bible and is of a false deity not to be worshipped. Additionally, the word Allah used to be in the Old English Bibles, but was later removed. The proof for my claims are in the following pages. Allah in the Old English Bibles. The term Allah or Allah used to not only be in the original languages of the scriptures, but also in the Old English Bibles, but which is now removed. God is the name of a false deity. The word God, even in the Hebrew Bible, is used to reference a false deity. Isaiah 65:11. Notice how it was removed from later versions of the Bible. Hebrew Bible. The full spelling of the Arabic and Biblical Hebrew word for Allah is Alif Lam Lam Ha or Alif Lamed Lamed He. It can also be spelled using three letters, Alif Lam Ha or Alif Lamed He. If using diacritics, this is where the insincere take advantage of the ignorant. The Hebrew word for curse is also spelled with the three letters Alif Lamed He, but which uses different diacritics or vowel signs. Vowel pronunciation is vital. An example I heard given was the example for the consonants K, R, S, from the word Chris, taken from the name of the Christian Messiah, Christ. The consonants and sounds when saying Chris and curse are the same. The only difference is the vowels
which drastically changes the meaning. This is exactly what they have done to the word Allah, as we will see. And if the consonants that make up the Hebrew word for curse does not need to take into account the vowels making Allah the same word as Allah, then the word Chris and curse are also the same. This is the correct spelling of the word Allah in Biblical Hebrew. Alif Lamed Lamed He, making what is today wrongly translated as the God or God. This is the correct spelling of the word Allah using 3 letters in Biblical Hebrew. Alif Lamed He. This makes A and the diacritic dot Holam vowel sign on the Lamed, and He makes Allah, and without any vowels makes Ilah, what is wrongly translated as God today. This is the word in Hebrew for curse. Alif Lamed He. There are 7 words in Hebrew that use these exact consonants. The only differentiating factors are the vowels used. Here, the 2 vowels used is what lets us know that this word is Allah, meaning curse, and not the other word, like Allah. There are portions of the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, written in Aramaic, such as Daniel and Ezra. From the JPS Hebrew English Tanakh, chapter 5, Ezra, verse 1. At the end of this verse, we see the God of Israel, and when read in Hebrew, it reads Allah Israel or Ilah Israel, having the same root as the Arabic, sounding almost identical. If you go to this website, you can even listen and hear it for yourself as further proof. Also, Aramaic Gospels. Mark 12:29. Comparing this verse in English to Aramaic reveals that the word for Allah is not God but Allah, where Allahan means our Ilah. 29. Jesus answered, "The greatest is, Hear Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Note that Maria without the capitalized Y, since capitalization doesn't exist in Aramaic, means Lord, and Allah means what is today translated as God. Allahan means our God. Additionally, the term Yahweh is a later inserted term and not belonging to the original Aramaic Gospels. Verse number 27. The God is Allah. The Gospels in Arabic. Mark 12:29. Jesus answered, "The greatest is, Hear Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." The word Ilah is what is translated as God. in ilahuna, or our ilah. Additionally, verse 27, the Arabic word ilah is what is translated as God, and Allah for what is translated as the God. Allah is the only name found in the scriptures in Arabic for what today is wrongly translated as the God, and is also the word used by Christians as well as the Jews in Palestine, or Israel, and Yemen.
To consider, the name of our Creator is being muddied. The same way pagans attempted to usurp and muddy Allah's message by the slow injection of falsehood and pagan beliefs into the pure doctrine ordained by Him for the followers of His way. This is seen in all religions today in terms of the rituals and beliefs that are not decreed and authorized by Him, and the blatant mockery by the pagans of the followers of these polluted ways. They made them adopt their pagan symbols, such as the pagan star symbol, which the Jews proudly take ownership of to represent themselves, the Christians the pagan cross symbol, and the Muslims the pagan moon and star symbol. Then they claim, and with what seems to be real evidence after all of this, that those religions are in fact pagan in origin. Look how much in common they have with paganism. It has to be theft committed by the Jews, Christians, and Muslims, they say. Or, look, the Muslims worshipped the pagan moon god and the cube in Mecca, etc., is what they say. They have profaned Allah's name and His prophets. If you doubt me, compare Allah's qualities and His prophets' character and behavior in the Quran, the final revelation, to any other religious text. I am not telling you to leave the Torah and the Bible. I am saying that in them is truth from Allah, and in them you'll also find corruption made by men. Some claim that the punishment from Allah in the next life mentioned in the Quran is not befitting of Allah and makes Him unjust. But the opposite is true. Consider this question. If there is an ilah, then why do bad things happen to good people? And why do bad people prosper? War criminals and tyrants who murder, rape, destroy, corrupt, etc. get away with their crimes. Human traffickers, serial killers, cannibals, pedophiles and rapists die of old age with seemingly no repercussions. They are sometimes caught and placed in prison only to serve the very few last years of their lives, or are put to death at an old age. Or sometimes, no matter how just the laws are, an innocent man is wrongfully charged for the crimes committed by those men, and is put to death instead. Also, a man who kills 100 people, for example, can only be killed once. Is that fair? Therefore, justice in this life is not guaranteed, and at best not paid in full. Consider the children that are abducted or born only for the sole purpose of enslavement, torture, deviant acts, organ harvesting, and blood sacrifices. As you hear this, there are children being tortured with gruesome acts of aggression. This is taking place on this earth whether we like it or not. The shaitan is real, and those who serve him make the lives of the most innocent among us a hell on earth, and can seem to get away with it. Should they not be held accountable? Do they not deserve punishment in return? Human trafficking, a term that refers to the transportation of men, women, and children into a situation of exploitation, such as slavery, organ harvesting, child prostitution, etc., is a $150 billion a year industry. An estimated 20 to 40 million people are trafficked today, as far as we know. Although, since the majority of cases go undetected, the number is likely to be higher. This is a reality all over the world. Justice cannot be fully attained in this life, as much as it is our duty to strive to actualize and maintain it. Therefore, Death is a mercy and blessing for us. Death allows us not to suffer for too long in this life, which when compared to eternity is pretty much nothing, and which allows those who suffered to not have to wait too long to be in eternal bliss. As for those who think they have it made while terrorizing the earth, death is a blessing because they have a short-lived reign. On the other hand, this life being so short means that every action we do or do not do is weighed that much more. Consider someone who has 1,000,000 gold coins and comes across a man in need. The man asks for 1 gold coin that will go towards his sister's medical bills. So he gives the man 1 gold coin. This is a good deed. Now, imagine that same scenario, but instead of having 1,000,000 gold coins, he only has 2 and gives away 1 gold coin. The deed is the same. He gave away 1 gold coin in both scenarios. But it is obvious that the deed in the second scenario means more. Since we are given a limited amount of time on earth, whatever we do with it means that much more. The punishment of Allah on those who terrorize and destroy life is a blessing, even though our limited minds by themselves have a hard time understanding this. We are to be in paradise, to be with Allah and the angels, and to do so by choice, because we have free will. No evil is to be resident there, at least not eternally as we are promised. When Adam and his wife disobeyed Allah, they were cast out. Therefore, this earthly life is that process of purification, separating the pure from the impure. Every action has a consequence, and therefore punishment must exist for those who punish others in this life unjustly. Compare this to the modern Christian belief that as long as they are Christians, they are saved, meaning that their will and works don't matter. They can theoretically be serial killers who torture children and in their minds feel safe from the punishment of Allah. If Allah had chosen that there be no punishment at all after this life, then that would mean that the actions I mentioned earlier committed by the scum of the earth do not have consequences in the next life, and their victims, this includes everybody affected such as the family, in this life may never see justice. Also, it would mean that in the next life we would be in paradise not out of free will and choice to be good and pure, we would be forced to be good-hearted and pure. There is no compulsion in doctrine with Allah. He is a loving and caring Lord. Therefore, understand that the punishment is very just and is necessary in order for us to have free will and also be in paradise. Without it, it would make Allah unjust, which He is not. My point is that the Most High is the most just, and being so, Allah will surely balance the scales. And therefore, the Allah described in the Quran, as well as the prophets and angels compared to the other scriptures and other literature such as the Hadith, Talmud, etc., maintains the elevated status, quality, character, and position due them. At the very least, a consideration for your own sake is to not associate any others with Allah's words. The Torah, which is the Pentateuch, however, having been altered today, is free from other sources, from the Hebrew Bible, Talmud, and Midrashim writings. Injil, which is now lost, but which remnants may possibly be found in what is today's Gospels according to Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, provided that they are in alignment with the Quranic guidance, and Quran were sent down. The other literature ascribed to them were not, and are being used to distort his message. Our Ilah is one. He is the Lord of all. He has no children and was not born, and there are no equals to him. Allah is the one who created Musa, Moses, Isa, possibly Jesus in English, and Muhammad, and sent down the books and the law as mercy from himself. You are free to deny this. Allah is free of need. This is for your own salvation and freedom.
You can find the word Allah defined in the Quran in the following surahs and ayat.